Hello, my name is Carlos Urban, and today I'm going to talk about the new iPhone 10s. This is my impressions as a photographer about this new iPhone 10s and what do I think compared to a regular DSLR and what are some of the advantages and disadvantages. I recommend everybody to watch the video. So if you go to the Apple page, you can see the full video. Here, I'm not going to show you the video that you can do that yourself. I'm just going to talk about some of the features as it regarding the camera. That's really what this is about, because I think that the camera has some features that are really amazing. I was about to get the iPhone 10 about 4 months ago. I have the 7s, which I use regularly for pictures whenever I don't have my camera. And a friend of mine told me, why are you going to get the 10 when the new one is going to come out in about 4 months? So I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll wait. I don't think there's going to be significant advantages, but I'll wait and see. So I do think that there is significant advantages, number one. And number two, if you have if you think that the new one is unaffordable, the 10s, you can always get the 10 that now is at a much deeper discount. So, I'm going to talk about some of the things that are on their website. First of all, one thing that amazes me is how sharp the pictures are. But here you can see that it basically has two lenses. So it has the telephoto and the wide angle, and also the flash is a lot more sophisticated. One of the weaknesses of the iPhones has always been the flash. As a matter of fact, I have some tutorials on the iPhone, and I usually recommend not to use the flash. So I'll be interested once I get the iPhone 10s, which I plan to pre-order very soon, tomorrow. I'll be able to make some comparisons. How does the flash do versus others? I'm not going to talk about the technical part. I mean, I'm not an engineer. I'm a photographer. I'm just going to tell you what I think based on what I saw in the presentation. And these pictures are really, amazing. Now, once again, this is not a professional DSLR, but what is amazing about this iPhone is that, first of all, point and shoots are now irrelevant. I have a point and shoot, a really good one, and I don't use it. My Canon point and shoot, I used to use it all the time, and now I just stopped. It's really not necessary. You can get so much more out of your iPhone than and this particular one is just amazing. I'm amazed, the detail, the drops here. I'll be interested once I take the pictures. I mean, even my 7 Plus is really good, on how many frames per second you can take. Well, one thing that you can see is, for example, here the sun. You cannot obviously set your iPhone to f22 so you get the starburst, but then again, the intent of the iPhone is not to replace your DSLR, is to see if you can take some decent pictures, especially if you're doing street photography. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't carry my camera with me all the time, but I do carry my iPhone all the time. So, there is some pictures here that are really, really impressed me. And I'll, be able, once I get it, I'll post and do a tutorial on, well, first I'll do a review and then I'll do a tutorial to see if these pictures that they show here are actually, possible for the average person to do. So here they're talking about the HDR. I'll be interested to know how many stops the HDR are. As you know, HDR, usually you do, what I tend to do is I like to do 2 stops, underexposed, 2 stops overexposed. Sometimes I'll do 5 shots and then blend them. The HDR feature in the camera, I use Nikon, it's not that good, so I usually use Photomatics or Lightroom, depending what I like what comes out the best. So I'd be interested to see how well the HDR feature is now. In the past, I thought it was not good at all. So let's see how it is. I like the fact that that it has that feature and that you can blend the pictures relatively easy there in your camera. So here again, this is, you can see here is very dark and you can see all the detail. And here is very bright, so you have a very, very high dynamic range. Obviously, you cannot do this with one picture, you need an HDR. What I like about how it comes out here in this picture is that it looks very natural. Something that I never liked about HDR is when it has that, like a cartoon or unrealistic look. But here in this picture, it looks really, really good. And that's what you want from an HDR. So here is the most impressive thing about this new camera. This bokeh depth control, by the way, everybody, pronounce it different. I call it bokeh. I think is incredible. Incredible that you can do this. And most amazingly, you can go from, I believe it was 1.8 or 1.4 all the way to f22. So this is great. To do this in Photoshop is so difficult. In this particular case, it will be easier because of the hair. But when there is long hair and there is all these strands, it takes hours to do a good job with Photoshop. So this alone makes it worthwhile to get this camera. The fact of the matter that you can go back and forth between 1.4, 1.8, all the way to f16. I'll be interested to compare this versus my lenses. I have a variety of DSLR lenses. Be interested to compare how well it does versus lenses. Again, this great picture taken against the light. Again, there is no fill light here. I don't know if they use flash. I'd be interested to know if they had used flash, if how well it does. What a beautiful picture. This is just amazing. And again, it's hard to believe that this is coming from an iPhone. These are the type of pictures that you see from professional photographers, award-winning photographers. The other thing that I love about it is it's perfect for street photography. If you have your big camera with your lens and all that, street photography sometimes can be intimidating for some people, because even if you have a zoom, they know that you're taking a picture of them. They may get offended, but with an iPhone, nobody, gets offended. Again, I'm just in shock the skin colors. So this is another thing that I like to see, how well it does in terms of the white balance and the skin colors. Can you imagine? Everybody posts selfies these days, especially obviously the young people, teenagers, and now to be able to play selfies with professional grade pictures. This is just, again, I'm just so amazed how well it does. The other thing is the dynamic range is supposed to be awesome. I'll be, very curious to compare it to my Nikon, especially the D810 that I have, because the D810, even though it's not the best dynamic range as the D850, is still really, really good. So again, I'm just like to see and compare action shots. You would never think that you'd take action shots with an iPhone, and this is something we'll see. Sometimes if you go to a sports event like baseball game, and if you're not allowed to take your camera with your big lens, you have no other choice. So be interested to see how well the iPhone does in this situation. Now, one of the things that I love most about the iPhone is I have a hard time doing video handheld. And I hate carrying all these tripods and gimbals and all this stuff. So, the fact that you can do, very high quality 4K video, and it has all these microphones. This is, for me, this is a game changer. I'm already using my iPhone for the if you see some of my most recent videos, I decided to do with my iPhone because when I try to use my camera the autofocus is not that good, and it's really, unless else is doing it, is really a pain in the neck. With the iPhone, you can just handheld it yourself, or you can have a simple, one of those like extension monopods. So this is going to be amazing. Well, the face detection was already really good, and again, this is what amazes me about the iPhones. The autofocus actually works better than in than that when I try to use the video mode in my camera. And now with all this technology, this neural engine, which I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what it means, but clearly Nikon is doing things, I mean, not Nikon, Apple is doing things that Nikon and Canon are not doing. And Canon and Nikon are the two biggest camera companies. And then you have Sony, obviously, with the mirrorless. And they're falling behind. They're falling behind Apple. Look at this. This whole technology. I mean, if you use Photoshop, you know how difficult all this editing is. Not only is it difficult, it's time consuming. It's a pain in the neck. I hate editing. Most of the time, the reason why a lot of people don't even bother, taking a lot of pictures in an event, I'm not talking professional event, I'm just talking if you're with your friends, is because the editing, it takes so long. And here you have all the technology in the editing software that comes in the phone to be able to do all this. And you can see here all the technology that is behind it. I mean, this is the typical, when you try to do in Photoshop, this tracing so that you can do, like it says here, separate the subject from the background. It's really difficult stuff. And with the iPhone, it does it all automatically. Most importantly, I mean, you can very easily go from portrait from vertical to horizontal. This is the thing that I'm just most amazed, that you can go from, well, here it doesn't show, I think it goes from 1.8 all the way to f22 or f16, and all in the editing software. And it's beautiful because sometimes it's like, okay, you take the picture and you don't know which one looks better. You're not able, you would have to take a picture in all the different apertures in order to be able to do this. And that's obviously impossible. When you're taking pictures, the more I take pictures, and I've been taking pictures for 10 years, and I love taking pictures of portrait, is the fact that, the face, gesture, the moment is so much more important than just somebody smiling. I mean, this is a great shot because there is so much going on. I mean, you have the face expression, you have, the light, the background. Again, beautiful picture. I'm also interested in seeing this thing with stage light. I mean, I do studio photography, so I'm going to be very interested in comparing this to when I do my studio shot. I'll also be interested to see if Pocket Wizard or somebody comes with a trigger that you can actually trigger your studio lights with the iPhone. Again, I'm not saying the iPhone is going to replace my cameras. I mean, I've invested many thousands of dollars, like most of you, in cameras and lenses, and it's not going to replace it. But the fact that you can do all this now with an iPhone is just amazing. 12 megapixels. I mean, not long ago, maybe 8 years ago, when I got my D7000, it was 12 megapixels, and 12 megapixels was enough to basically everything that I printed. So this is just, so it's f1.8. So, and the telephoto, it starts at 2.4. So when you do the 2x, so the 2 times zoom, you're going to be at 2.4. Again, zoom is going to be, or the lens obviously is going to be the big disadvantage. If you're going to go and take wildlife and your subject or the the animals that you're taking pictures of are like 500 feet away or more, obviously your iPhone is no comparison to your camera. I'm not suggesting that you go and do birds in flight and do it with your iPhone instead of your camera. I'm just saying that it's just amazing how far the iPhone has come. I mean, I was lucky enough to get the first iPhone, and I've almost basically gone through every single iPhone that's come out, and I'm just so excited to see all the things that are going on with the iPhone, especially when it comes to camera and video. Most importantly, there's going to be some really cool apps that are going to be coming out and allow you to do a lot of things that you're not able to do, with the app that comes with the camera. So this is, again, this is the 2.2 wide angle. So another thing that I'm looking very much forward to is the video stabilization. Again, if you're doing video stabilization, is stabilization and autofocus is really what makes it very easy. And it already is really good. So if it has improved, I'd be interested to see how it does, compared to some of the new mirrorless cameras that are coming out. I mean, mirrorless cameras that are coming out are $2,000 or more, some of them over $3,000. And this iPhone, again, the 10s, which is, by the way, I think I'm gonna get the 10s Max because I do like the larger, the larger screen. I think for people that had an iPad like I did, more and more I use my iPad a lot less. So for me, I think I'm just gonna get the 10s Max. But again, this is the same technology when it comes to pictures. I'm just so amazed with the quality of these pictures. I'm giving you just my thoughts as a photographer of what I think about this 10s. And as you can tell, I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to getting mine. As soon as I get it, I'll be able to do a full review. I'll do comparisons. And most importantly, I plan to do some tutorials because not necessarily for photographers, but a lot of people that use the iPhone, they take selfies and they just put it on the auto mode and don't do much with it. I think some people want to learn how to take advantages of everything this iPhone has. I mean, a lot of people, the panorama feature to do the pictures with the iPhone is so simple, it's so easy. And now with the HDR, slow-mo, I mean, again, I think this is an awesome, iPhone. I'm really looking forward to getting one. I'm glad that I didn't get the iPhone 10 because I was about to buy one. Nevertheless, if you already have an iPhone, look, if I had an iPhone 10, I don't know if I would upgrade to the 10s. Because then again, you need to weigh pros and cons and how much it's going to cost. Usually, you need about 18 months on your contract, depending who you're using, to be able to upgrade and not have to pay more. In that case, yes. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer to do the upgrade. But again, if you have a 10, I don't know. One more thing, and this is the only thing I'll mention about the phone. I think it's amazing that you can have two different phone lines on this phone. I hate it when people call my cell phone number that is related to work is my personal phone number. So, having two phone numbers, another thing that I just, I think is a great thing. This is a Face ID. The display, again, is going to be really cool to be able to see your pictures with this type of display. And as a photographer, a lot of times, I would say most of the times, when I want to show my pictures, somebody says, do you have any pictures that you've taken of models on the beach? I use my iPhone. I'm not going to go and get my iPad or get my laptop. I mean, too late. And most importantly, for those of you who share the pictures all the time on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I mean, this is just so much simpler. So once again, my initial reaction, as you can tell, is I'm very excited about this iPhone XS. I hope you find this useful. Please put in the comments what you think. You may disagree with me. Again, this is just a preview, my initial reaction. I'm not doing a review. I don't have it in my hand. Once I have it in my hand, I'll be able to do a review, do comparisons, and most importantly, do some tutorials so that people can fully take advantage and maximize the benefits of this new iPhone. Thanks again, and see you later.